I'm Rhys James, and I'm 17 years old.
So for folks who have not seen your short film, Spark, can you give us like a rundown on what the film is about?
It's about a girl, not me, who is struggling with grief, and it's basically her sister or someone in her life is like, take your time, do what you need to do, and I'll be there for you. So, yeah.
So has filmmaking and videography always been something that you enjoy? What was your introduction like to this?
Weirdly enough, I started doing film because I was really obsessed with this one celebrity that I will not name that did a lot of filmmaking. And so I signed up for the course for high school, and I immediately was like, this is what I want to do. This is awesome.
That is so cool. One of the things that really struck me about your film is it is very simple, but it is very impactful. So most of this takes place in this girl's room, in her bathroom, but it was also like really emotional. So what was the process like when you decided you wanted to make this film? How did you plan it out? How did you decide what you wanted to do to describe grief so powerfully?
I was doing a lot of it kind of on the spot. Like, I wasn't really sure where I was going with it at all to start. Like, I knew that I wanted to describe this kind of process and like the feelings that I was feeling. And the thing that sort of stood out to me as I had gone through this process of grief was like how I let my life kind of fall apart. And so I wanted to show that visually in a way that was like easy for people to understand, even if they hadn't experienced what I was going through.
Yeah, when we were watching it, like watching those pieces of this person's routine crumble, because a lot of this story is about this person's routine, like we were audibly gasping, like that they have stopped doing these things. What inspired you to make this?
About 4 or 5 months prior to making this film, my grandmother passed away, and I just sort of I stopped doing things like normal things, and I kind of felt very removed, I guess, from my life, and I wanted to kind of show other people who were going through the same thing as I was that it happens to a lot of people. It's a normal thing, and you can recover. So,
was it scary to make something this vulnerable?
A little bit, yeah. I don't know. I'm pretty open with the things that with my life. I'm pretty much an open book. But it was, I don't know. It was hard to let people know that like I stopped doing things that people would like consider like gross, I guess. Like you don't brush your teeth, you don't shower, like that kind of things, like these basic human things. It is kind of hard to tell people that you're not doing these basic things to take care of yourself. So, yeah.
It speaks to how powerful grief is, I feel like.
Yeah.
And really communicates it to people who may not have been going through what you were going through.
Yeah.
Why did you name your film Spark?
I think that when you go through kind of that depression and that feeling of grief, that you lose interest in the things that normally would interest you. And film, of course, it's like one of my favorite things about it's like my life, but when you're in such a dark space, you lose that spark and that interest for the things that you love. And I think this was kind of me getting that spark back. Like, sounds kind of corny, but yeah.
This was very tonally different from your other works.
Yeah.
What do you hope that people take away from this film when they watch it?
I really just hope people can understand that people are going through what you're going through, and like you're never alone in the feelings that you're having, even if it feels like you're the only person on earth who's feeling this poorly. There's always a way to get through it, and there's people who are experiencing what you're experiencing.
Mm-hmm. And speaking about your other works, so in our previous after-school special, we showed How to Rhys.
Yes, yeah.
And then you also submitted a very similar film, How to Be a Good Boyfriend, which go from perhaps instead of the seriousness a spark, a little silly.
Today we're gonna be teaching you how to Rhys. Step 1, confess your love over Instagram DMs, like this. And so today I'm gonna be teaching you how to be I'm gonna teach you how to be a great boyfriend. Step 2, affection, because everybody loves affection.
Tell me a little bit about those films.
I've gotten a lot of recognition from those films simply because I act different, I hope, in real life a little bit, a little less creepy, a little less awkward, and I don't know, I worked with some of my best friends to make those films, and I really think that it just, I don't know exactly how to describe it, like, our relationships between me and my friends are kind of displayed very well in those films, I think. Just like the dark humor, I guess, that it kind of goes along with. I don't know. It's
a very dry kind of comedy.
Yes, yeah.
And what inspired those?
I'm not really sure. I think kind of the environment of my film program at school, it's kind of, I guess, the humor that we all kind of go into. If it's not like the blatant, like brain rot, this is Rhys things. Yeah.
And why were you interested in also submitting those works to After School Special? Why are you interested in submitting all your films to After School Special? What inspired you to do that?
One of my biggest hopes and dreams with, filmmaking is that I will make something that people can connect to. Like, when I have a film that's like a favorite, it's not just like because it's greatly, cinematically like formed. It's because I can connect to it and I like feel what the characters are feeling, and I want to create something that people can feel that way about. So,
what are some recent films that have inspired you in that way?
I'm not really sure. Kind of my whole life. It's like, I think my top few are kind of basic answers, like Perks of Being a Wallflower, La La Land, those kind of, yeah.
And do you have any plans for future projects? What can we expect from you in the future?
I'm hoping to make a third how-to whatever video, probably how to get through a breakup, I'd assume what it would be. And then I want to do a documentary about the roller derby scene in Anchorage. I think those are my top 2 right now.
You kind of have the life cycle of a relationship. You Rhys them up.
Yes.
You become their partner.
Exactly.
And then it ends.
Exactly. And
It's
you
beautiful.
just have to get through it, yeah.